Not many people know this, but there's a town in County Cork called Fermoy, which has a little palace. It's in Emmett Road. And it's here that a very strange thing happened. In this palace in Fermoy, there comes a bishop every year, comes down to see his mother living in Fermoy, and he stays there for a little while on his holidays. Anyway, one day he was doing all his business in the palace when there was a knock on the door. So he sent his secretary, Patrick, to see who it was. And Patrick came to the big front door and he opened it. And there in front of him was this dark figure. Big, long, dark cloak. Brown face and a long beard. And Patrick said to him, "What can I do for you, sir?" And the figure looked back at Patrick and said, "I am Jesus. I've come back." Well, Patrick didn't know what to say, so he just said, "Oh, well, do come in. Just wait here a moment." And he went back to see the bishop to tell him. And he said, "Your Honour, you won't believe this, but Jesus, he's come back." "What?" said the bishop. "No!" The bishop couldn't believe it. "But," he said, "I thought he was coming back on the clouds of heaven." "No," said Patrick. "He got the bus up from Cork." And the bishop started panicking. "What will we do? What will we do? How can we give him a welcome that is special from the Irish people so that he'll know who and what the Irish people are?" So he thought for a minute and then said, "Ah, yes. Go back, Patrick, and tell him the terms and conditions apply, and read him the health and safety rules." And he looked round at all his staff and he said, "Everybody about the business, look busy." Anyway, Patrick went out to the front door and began to bring Jesus in. And they all gathered round and they were waiting. And when he appeared, they used that word, which is peculiar to the Irish, which is one word which means both a prayer and also expresses surprise. So Jesus came in. "Jesus!" he said. Now the bishop, who was more controlled and more polite, told Jesus to sit down and make himself at home. And he said, "So good to see you, Jesus. You're looking well after 2,000 years. Now, before you say anything, I just want to fill you in on what we in the church and the bishops have been doing while you've been away." "Well, you know, Jesus, when you spoke about being nice and kind and loving, well, that was lovely, but we found as time went on, we had to tweak the system a little bit. And so we pushed hell a little bit more. And we made a catechism so they knew exactly what to do. And we got canon law in, and then and we did all sorts. And we made up some sins, like mortal sin was a desperate one, venial sin. And people behaved, so it's quite good. And you know, before you speak, Jesus, well, we also found out what truth was. Do you remember Pontius Pilate said, "What is truth?" And you never replied. Well, we found out what it was. In the Middle Ages, we had these things called pliers for nails, and this thing called a rack. And we used to, if they didn't tell the truth, we used to stretch them. And we stretched them. And we always found the truth. We always got the truth. It was great. So there's no problem with that. And then we made up all these societies. We had the Pentecostalists, the Charismatics, the Legion of Mary, the Neo-Catechumenists, the Focolari group, And we also had another one, which is growing in numbers all the time, and it was the Society of Just in Case. And there's thousands in it. And they all joined it. Just in case there was hell. And just in case they had the three last things, like death, judgment, hell or heaven. So they thought they'd all hang in just in case. Quite funny really, but they're there and they're still members of the faith. And you know, Jesus, when you said, and the gates of hell will not prevail against them. Well, I'll tell you, it is prevailing now. They're persecuting us and prosecuting us. We don't know where we are. Look around here, we're dealing with all these compensation claims. Very difficult. But Jesus, I know you must go and you've got lots of places to see. So, I remember when you used to travel around in your time, you had that donkey coming into Jerusalem, and Mary had the donkey going from Nazareth to Bethlehem to have you as a baby. Well, we made a little song up about that. It was little donkey on a dusty road. It was lovely. But anyway, times have changed now. We only have a few donkeys left. But we have this thing called Ryanair. And you just get on it, it goes zoop, and you're there. It's amazing, amazing. Oh, but let me warn you. Don't stand out in the sun too much, because they might look on you suspiciously, and you need to shave that beard, if you don't mind me saying so, a little bit. And wherever you do, when you're travelling on Ryanair, don't carry toothpaste or washing up like it. Sounds a bit daft really, but you're better off doing that or not doing it, as the case may be. So Jesus, I'm sorry you have to go. I hope you don't leave it so long until you visit us again, and I just want to say, God be with you. Well, I know he's already with you really. But I want to say to everybody here that God be with you, and respectfully also with you. God bless.